So, my name is Olivier. My nickname is TAVU. My artist name is TAVU. I'm from Paris. I'm 42. And I started drawing like 10 years ago. I started skateboarding when I was 12 in 93. And the drawing I started in 2010, I think. And still I continue now. So for the drawing, I use maps as the canvas. For the background, it's always a map, and I used to use the basic pen, like in French. There's a brand called Bic. I used to use only those kind of pen, but still with the time, I use a different one, like the Uni or the Rotring one, to have really thin line. Because what is interesting is that the transparency between the drawing and the map. And if I use like marker or bigger pen, it's not so interesting. So the technique is really to make some little line, and I really work on that transparency with the map. So the two elements became only one, like the portrait and the map. There is a kind of a unity between those two elements. I remember the first time we met in Paris with my good friend Benjamin. I didn't know really the brand. I remember on old magazine like Lowdown, I remember to see some commercial and stuff like that. But Tokyo is really far from Paris and I didn't know really the brand. But what I really liked is that you came to Paris and you put people together, like you start to meet like Benjamin and all the skaters from there and trying to understand the feeling of the city, and you are really into sharing the thing with everybody, making the shooting with the skater there and with Benjamin as a photograph. So I really liked that energy. When I knew I will come to Tokyo, I was searching a lot about the story related to the city. And I remembered the documentary called Tokyo Melody. It's a French-Japanese production and it's made by the French director called Elisabeth Lénard. I really like the name Tokyo Melody, it sounds really good. And that documentary, it's about Ryuichi Sakamoto, Mr. Ryuichi Sakamoto. And in that documentary, we can see a lot of different scene in Tokyo, like basic scene in the streets, like some random people walking, a lot of sound. But we can also see Mr. Sakamoto recording in that studio just behind me. It's called Onkyo House. And it's also here that he recorded one of his famous melody called Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. So with all those elements, I had everything for starting a new project. So I decided to draw a portrait of Mr. Sakamoto. And also with that location, I start to try to find a map in that neighborhood. We are in Ginza, specifically in Shuo City. And when I arrived, a few days after my arriving, I started to walk a lot around Ginza to try to find the best map for my project. And luckily, I find one in the same street. It's a little bit that way in the west. And with that element, I could start really drawing my project. So I spent a lot of hours working on that plexiglass. And now we will try to put it on that map in the streets. The most important for me is to be aligned with myself. I mean, when I draw, sometimes it's really like a meditating process. I can spend hours and hours on the same drawing, and my mind is totally focused on that, and I It's kind of hard to express, but sometimes I'm really on a meditative state. So the goal for that drawing thing also, I think, is to share with others, because I spend a lot of time by myself drawing at my place, lots of hours. But the goal of that is to share with others after when it's finished, to show and to share, hoping that people will like it. And if it can be made for a specific project after, it's really good too. Like the one I made with you guys for the t-shirt and stuff. It's really great that the drawing exists by itself, but to make a t-shirt with you, it's another way to share with other people, which is really good.